Hi there folk, we're busy doing a series on maps and I just love that section because to me there's just so much fantastic stuff we can get out of a map. So with maps we don't just look at the map itself, but we're also able to calculate distances, we're able to calculate cost of petrol, we're able to determine whereabouts we're going to stop if we take a long trip. It's a phenomenal section. Now we've already looked at a national road map, we've also looked at strip maps, and what we're going to look at today are two other types of maps. Road maps or city maps, and then also we're going to look at elevation maps. Okay, so let's get going straight away and let's have a look at a few definitions. So a street map or a road map is a map of a small area, such as a town or a city. This map should or would show the following. It shows the names of streets, suburbs, railway lines, hospitals, schools, police stations, shopping centers, places of worship, museums, hotels, cemeteries, and airports. Okay, so a little road map or city map, we're taking just looking at a little area. Now notice how this whole section on map work, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. We started with a national road map where we looked at all the main national roads in South Africa. Then we went a little bit smaller and we looked at a strip map, just the route between two main cities. Now we're looking at a city map or road map where we're looking at just the city. So from looking at the whole of South Africa, we focus down to a specific route. Now we're focusing into a town. And then the next type of map we're going to look at is an elevation map. And an elevation map is any map which shows the different elevations or heights of an area. Okay, let's get going straight away. In this example, we see we've got a specific map. And looking at it, we can see that actually the N10 is running through this little town. We also know that in this town there is a hospital. We know that there is a total garage. We know there's a Wimpy. What else do we know? Okay, we know the hospital is called Craddock Hospital, and this is Hotel Craddock. So the chances are that this is a map of the town of Craddock. Let's see what sort of questions they're going to ask us on this. Which town is shown on the map and explain the reason for your answer? Well, we've already done that, haven't we? Of course we have. We said it's the Hospital Craddock or Total Craddock. Okay, so it's in the town of Craddock. Then the next question states the following. Which national road goes through the town? We said it was the N10. You see, we've already got these answers just by looking at our map. Before we even looked at the questions, we looked at our map, we've analyzed the map, and we've already come up with the answers before we even looked at the questions. Next one. Is this town serviced by a train service? Explain. Okay, well, let's have a look here. Is there any sign of a train track here? Now, what does a train track look like? It's normally a line, okay, and it's this kind of thing. Do we see anything like that on this map? No, we don't. Because we don't see that, we could presume then that this is not serviced by a train. Hold on, I lie. What do we have here? Okay. We have a Craddock station. Can you see that? There's an image of a train and it says Craddock, so there is a Craddock station here. The only thing is this line isn't shown like this, so you would have probably found that below this map there would have been a key, and the key would have shown us how this map shows a railway line. Okay, now next question goes on and it says this. Do you think this town has a bridge? Explain your answer. And whilst at the total garage, Danny wants to go to the hospital to get a headache pill. He asks a petrol attendant for directions, and what directions could the attendant give Danny? Right, firstly, do we think this town has a bridge? I would say yes. Why would I say yes? because there is actually a river running through this town. When we look over here, we can see there is the Groot Visrivier, or also known as the Groot Visrivier. There's only one name for this. And the N10 crosses over the Groot Visrivier. Now, folk, when you get to a bridge, gone are the days where you got to some water or a river and you just plowed your way through it. Okay? Nowadays, obviously, we have these phenomenal bridges that all these fantastic engineers build. So I'm going to see a river. Obviously, where there's a river, there will be a bridge. So yes, I do think that there is a bridge in this town. Now, the next question is this. A particular guy called Danny gets to the Craddock petrol station, okay, the Total Garage in Craddock. And he gets there, and this is where it's actually located. And while he's there, he gets this massive headache. And he says, yes, like, I need to see a doctor, hey? So he says to the petrol attendant, yes, like, is there a doctor here? And the petrol attendant says to him, yeah, there is. Actually, we have a phenomenal hospital. And if you go to this hospital, you'll find all the kinds of doctors you need. And Danny says, well, how do I get to this hospital? And so the attendant now needs to give directions. And folk, I want to pause here, and I want to focus on the following. Giving directions forms part of your curriculum. You have to know how to give directions. And the problem with that is this, that it's normally easier, or we think it's easier than what it actually is. I was watching my wife the other day, and she was telling someone how to get to our house, and she was on the telephone, okay? Now, I have my telephone here, so let me pretend I'm my wife. So she was on the telephone talking away, and she said to the person, right, now, when you get to the stop street, you turn this way, and then you carry on down that road. And I'm thinking, hold on, the person on the phone can't see you. How do they know what that way is? All right? And we are so inclined to do that. Another thing we tend to do is, if I look at this map over here, and let's say I'm driving along the N10. I'm just going to use this as an example. I'm driving along the N10 and I get here to this junction. Now I want to turn right and I want to continue along the N10. How many times don't we say, right, you get to the junction and you go down the N10? Because we're looking at this and this is going down there, okay? So you say you get to the N10 and you go down that road. Folk, you can't say go down, because you don't know if this part of the road is an uphill and if this part of the road is a downhill. So if you say you get to the junction and you go down, the guy's going to say, well, that's up, this is down, let's go down, and he's going to get totally lost. All right? The other thing is, when I'm driving along a road, I'm going to say continue along a road. We don't say go straight. Because if I go straight, so let's say I'm on the N10 and I say to someone, look, just go straight along the N10, he's going to just go straight and just plow through those entire shops. Okay? So you travel along the road. Don't say go down. We don't say go up this road. We say travel along this road. And we also say turn right, turn left. So when we're giving directions, there are a number of things we've got to remember. Number one, we travel left, we travel right. You can use street names, so you can say pass 3 roads. You'll pass 3 roads turning off to the right, take the 4th road on your right, and that road's called Mickey Mouse Avenue. You go down Mickey Mouse Avenue, and then you'll turn left into Minnie Mouse Avenue. All right, you get the idea? All right, so now, Danny is at the garage. Where's the garage? The garage is right over here. And now he's got to get to the hospital. So what is the petrol tenant going to say to him? He's going to say to them, well, come out the garage and turn right along the N10. You're going to turn right. You're going to pass one road to your left. The second road to your left is actually called Hospital Street. So you're going to turn right. You're going to continue past your first left. Your second left is called Hospital Street. Turn left and travel along Hospital Street. You'll pass one intersection, okay, and you'll find the hospital is on the right-hand side. Clear directions given, you can't go wrong. Now, how do I mark this kind of question in a final exam? Well, when I'm marking the final exam, I read your instructions very carefully and I follow the route. If for some reason I don't get to where I'm supposed to, guys, there's something wrong with your directions and we're not going to give you full marks for that question. Okay? Right, let's have a look at our next example. Here we have another example, and it looks like in this example we've got a direction given to us. So we've got from somewhere over here, and you can see that this is showing us the route we can take to Life Interbeni Hospital. You will see that this is also giving us 3 routes. It's giving us a route along here, and it says if I follow this route, it's going to take me 15 minutes and it's 8,4 kilometers. However, I can also follow this route, and instead of going along there, cut along here, past the University of Natal and get to Life Interbeni Hospital. That route is going to take me a little shorter, 14 minutes, but it's slightly longer. It's 9,3 kilometers. Or I can travel along this route, go along here, get on the N2 and travel all the way along and get to Life Hospital. That's quite a long route. That's 13 kilometers, but it's only going to take me 14 minutes. Okay, so what sort of questions can I ask? Let's have a look here. List 3 suburbs shown on the map, and then it also goes on to say in which suburb would you find the University of Natal. So we're trying to find 3 suburbs here, and suburbs are as follows. We've got Umbilo, Glenwood, got Hillary, Belair, Ridgeview, Bonella, and we've also got the Berea. It now says in what suburb is the University of Natal, and we can see it's going to be in the Glenwood area. Okay, now we're going to come to an exciting question. I love this question coming up here. Let's read it. Mrs. Painting is 8 months pregnant and about to give birth to her 3rd child. Both Mr. and Mrs. Painting have decided that she will give birth at Interbeni Hospital in Durban. The map shows the route that they will need to follow in order to get from their home to the hospital. There are 3 routes that are shown, and we've already looked at those 3 routes. The furthest route of 13 kilometers is one of the quickest routes. Why do you think it would be quicker going this route than the shorter route of 8,4 kilometers? So let's have a look at this. So we've got a very short route of 13 kilometers. Okay, where is this route? Right over here. Okay, so we've got this route, and there's a route here of 13 kilometers, right? Long route. Then we've got a short route of 8,4 kilometers. And yet that route of 8,4 is taking us 15 minutes, where this longer route of 13 kilometers is only taking us 14 minutes. Why is it quicker? Folk, it's quicker. Look what we're traveling along. We're traveling along the N2. What speed can I travel when I'm traveling on a national highway? I can travel 120 kilometers. What speed can I travel when I'm traveling through a city? Only 60 kilometers. So although this route is longer, it can be a lot quicker. Why? Because of the fact I'm traveling on a national highway. Okay, nice stuff. Let's go on. So, with the use of the formula below, show that the speed they are predicted to travel will be below the speed limit of 60 kilometers an hour if they use the shortest route. And we're told that distance is equal to speed times time. Now, we want to know the shortest route, not the quickest, the shortest route. Okay? And we are trying to find out what speed will they be doing. Okay, so let's find the distance. We want the shortest route, and the shortest route we said is going to be this 8,4 kilometers, and it's going to take us 15 minutes. So 8,4 kilometers and 15 minutes. Okay. 8,4 kilometers, 15 minutes. All right, now I want us to look at the following, because we've got to think about this. If I were to say to you, give me a speed, you would say 120 kilometers per hour. Would you agree on that? Okay. Now, my unit here is kilometers, but what's my unit here? Minutes. That's a problem, because my distance formula, distance in kilometer, speed in hours, speed in kilometers, time in hours, and I have 15 minutes. So I'm going to change that and say that is 15 over 60. Why? 15 minutes of an hour. We want speed by itself, so I'm going to say speed is 8,4 kilometers divided by 15 over 60. Let's get that calculator and let's get it working. All right, so I've got 8.4. I'm going to divide it by 15 over 60, and I get an answer here of 33,6. So 33,6 kilometers per hour. And we are saying it's going to be below the speed limit of 60 kilometers an hour, right? Why would it be below? Well, it's an average speed. So there are robots along the way, and there could also be quite a bit of traffic. So that's the average speed that you're actually going to travel. I want to do this again using my time button on my calculator. So I'm going to say, if I say 8.4 and I divide it by no hours, here's my time button, 15 minutes and no seconds, my answer is going to be 33,36. Let's push this, okay, and I get 33,6 kilometers an hour. Interesting. Right. Okay, and then final question is this. With the use of the formula below, determine the speed they are predicted to travel if they use the fastest route. So we're going to find the fastest route. And our fastest route, remember, not the longest, but the fastest, is 14 minutes. Now we've got 2 of 14 minutes. We've got 9,3 14 minutes, and we got 13 14 minutes. So we could do that using either one of these calculations. All right, I'm going to use this one and see how fast we're going to travel. 14 minutes and 13 kilometers. Okay, so 14 minutes, 13 kilometers. So we're going to say, oops, we've gone the wrong way here. Speed, distance is 14 kilometers, time 13 minutes, and we're trying to find the speed. Remember, we're going to change that to 13 over 60 because it's 13 minutes of an hour. So my speed is going to be 14 divided by 13 over 60. So out comes a calculator. We're going to say 14 divided by 13 over 60, and that will tell me my speed, or average speed, was 64,62 kilometers. 64,62 kilometers. Now that doesn't sound fast because remember we went along the highway, but remember before we got to the highway, we were on little town roads. Okay, guys, I love this section. Hey, it's so interesting. I know our time's up, but I've just got to touch on this quickly. Our elevation maps. Let's have a look at here. Now here is the route between Pietermaritzburg and Durban. And if you look at it between Pietermaritzburg and Durban, you can see that you are starting on a height which is between 600 and 750 kilometers. When you get to Durban, you're at sea level. In other words, no meters above sea level. You can see that there are a number of hills that we're going to climb and go up, and then suddenly we get here to Botha's Hill and we start dropping very quickly into Pinetown. When we get to Pinetown, we climb a little bit on Cowie's Hill and then we begin dropping again. All right, we climb a little on the Berea, and from the Berea we drop straight in to Durban. This was actually taken from the Comrades Marathon route. So runners could look at this and say, cool, when I'm running, look at this horrible climb. I've got to climb all the way up here to Umlas Road, and that's the highest point as well of the climb, okay? Well above 750, probably closer to 850 meters. And then they can say, cool, then I've got a nice downhill, got a nice, life is going well, this is going to be such a nice route, and then I've got one little hiccup here, up we go, that's going to be, I've got to save energy for there, and then I'll run down into Durban. That is an elevation map. So what have we done in this short segment? In the segment, we've covered the following. We've looked at road maps, we've analyzed and applied information from road maps, we've worked with speed, distance and time, and we've used maps as well to give directions. Then we've also had a look quickly at discussing elevation maps. Don't go away. In our next session after the break, we're going to look at a real problem involving all the maps we've covered. So I've put together a question, and from that, all the information, we're going to come up with some phenomenal answers. So don't go away. I'm sure we'll see each other after the break. Cheers.